Hello there, this is AnYPony and welcome to another Project Horizon podcast. Today with me, as usual, vector-brony. Hello, Vector.
Hi there.
And somebody new. Who the heck are you and what got you into here?
Hi, my name is Somber, and she says that I can come in.
Yeah, okay, that's reason enough. So yeah, actually with us today is Somber, author and writer and the person behind everything Project Horizon. So yeah, welcome to the show. Nice to have you here. Even so, it kind of course, creates a little bit of a tricky situation for everybody here, because who follows my channel knows that I hate spoilers. And now we pretty much have the person with us who knows more or less how things will turn out. I mean, you told me before that you are down to 3 possible endings, but still, you know all 3. So, and I don't want to hear anything about it. I want to read it when the time comes. So yeah, it will be really, really tricky for you not to spoil anything. It will be hard for me to not get anything spoiled, and it will be hard for Vector to not ask spoilery questions.
I will try my best, but there's no promises.
Dum, dum, dum. So when I start screaming and run off screen, then people know if you don't like spoilers, you should probably mute as well. Just a fair warning. But yeah, we are today here to talk about Chapter 72, and since we got you with us, Somber, how about maybe, not sure if how many interviews or whatever you already gave, a little bit of introduction, who you are, what got you to Horizon, and what about Chapter 72?
Okay. Well, Horizons came about as I was reading Fallout Equestria, like everyone else that writes a side fic. And I got an idea in my head that was basically a lunar moon base with a mega spell set to go off and blow something on the surface to heck. And I basically knew Kat back when GDocs had a little chat bar that anyone could sign into, even if you were anonymous. And asked her, well, would she mind if I started a story? And after about a month, she went, sure, if you really want to, go right ahead. I don't mind. And so I decided, well, what the heck, I'll just try it. It was my second attempt at making a longer story for MLP, and it was the one that I stuck with, and I'm really glad I did, but I did not expect it to be as big, as long, and as huge as it has turned out to be. I thought I'd be done in a year.
And how,
boy.
And how many words did you expect to write? I mean, if you don't think in numbers with words, compared to, for example, the original one.
I thought it would be about the same size as the original.
Okay.
I thought it'd be, 400, 500,000 words at most.
Okay, now you're pretty much at 250% or something. Well, way to overshoot your destinies, or estimations, or whatever. Yeah, so Chapter 72. I mean, I guess you can go first. I mean, I have my notes here anyway, so. What was your intention with the chapter?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the deal with 72. About 2 years ago, I started to think of ideas for how I wanted Horizons to end. And I had 2 choices. One is that Blackjack solves everything, and Blackjack and her friends are the main focus in the finale of the story, which I could have done, and it would have been hugely easier. But something that's been bouncing around in Horizon since I started was the idea that ponies working together.
People it's not all about you, Blackjack.
Exactly. Is much stronger. And so I wanted the end of the story to be bigger. And that's a very dangerous thing to want because it can get too big really fast. And so at this point, Blackjack has left for the moon, which is going to have her showdown with Cognitums over Horizons. And I needed to show everything else that was happening in the wasteland. And there's a problem, because I'm writing this from a first-person point of view.
All hail the Patrepticon.
AKA the magical device that allows me to cheat with third-person point of view.
Oh, you got me bad with the first chapter after the time gap.
Mm-hmm.
When you started out with all the different characters, and then you revealed that Blackjack had the helmet on, I was like, oh, he got me.
and that was foreshadowing. That was basically foreshadowing for this this ending, where unfortunately I'm going to have to try and find some way of interspersing what's happening on the surface with what's happening to Blackjack, because there are some people that care very deeply about what's happening to Blackjack, and there are some people that care very deeply about what's happening to the Hoof and the people in it in general, and I don't want to neglect one over the other. I need to find some way of covering the two so that no one side feels neglected and, oh, well, why did I just read that? There were some people that read 72 and just went, this was an utter waste of my time.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's a bit harsh.
I mean, some of them were nicer than others, but the fact was that it didn't focus on Blackjack nearly as much as any other chapter did. And so it was all on secondary characters that have been introduced over the course of the story, and now we're going to see what happens to these final characters. The problem is that there's so much that is occurring, and I have to use the Perceptitron gimmick to get her to so the reader can see it. Otherwise, I have to just fall back on and oh, we have a report that such and such happened in the place, and it was horrible, and thousands of people died. Oh, okay. Well, then the reader loses out on actually seeing it and experiencing it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, I guess there are two techniques KCAT use. I mean, you already implemented the one thing. And you kind of have been lucky with your entire setup that you had basically this period of time in which the protagonist sits in a spaceship for hours and has nothing else to do, while KCAT actually needed this one chapter where she starts out with Little Pip addressing directly the reader and is like, okay, guys, I'm going to mix up the chronology here to make it more interesting.
Oh yes, the Canterlots.
Yeah, because she pretty much all the in this case flash forwards to all the people in the big battle, what you did in 72 with the secondary characters. What she did there was like all the things Little Pip did just before entering the pod, when she was like, okay, Celestia, show me them, and so all those scenes have been just showed to us a chapter earlier as, yeah, to make it more interesting, as Little Pip herself explains. So, and yeah, you got this one.
My worry is that I'm going to end up like the chapters just before the ending, when she assaults Navarro. And I didn't like those chapters. I didn't like them because they jumped from the celebration in Spike's Cave with the action going on in the chapter. And now I'm facing on having to do something very similar myself. And I don't like it. But if I don't do it, I'm left with either giving it all as, I don't know, flashbacks, memory orbs. I mean, I have a huge mess of outside exposition when she comes back from the moon. Or having to try and work in Perceptitron bits while she's trying to actually get to Cognitum and deal with Cognitum. You know, it's a very tricky thing. And once she comes back from the moon, then hey, everything's back to first person, and we go to the ending. But it's bothering me. So I really want to get done in 4 chapters. I really, really do.
Oh well, but yeah, that brings me to the second technique K-Cat used to, for her thingy, that she broke the rules with the. I believe the first one was the official epilogue, and then we also got the 10 years later, which both have not been from Little Pip's perspective. Not sure. I believe they.
One was on Fluttershy's, and I think.
Oh yes. The 10 years later was from Fluttershy's, and the epilogue was, I believe, a homage in a news announcement. So it was first speech, direct speech. It was direct speech all the way through, because homage was telling a report, which kind of ended up being first person as well. So not really a difference there.
Which is something you can do once you've established that you've broken the narrative flow. And I have no problem doing an afterword like that myself. I'm planning one.
Because I personally really enjoyed seeing all the secondary characters, so I'm not one of the, oh, I'm so bored, I only care about this one guy, gal, whatever.
Yeah, same here. I've been quite curious about what's been going on in the hoof now that they're away. And like I said, we got, was it Xanthi, the scientist zebra?
Xanthi?
Ah.
I'm thinking of somebody else, I think.
The one in the cloak suit in the soul power.
The one who's cursed.
Yeah, or at least who constantly thinks she's cursed by the Star Maiden.
You don't think she's cursed?
Well, I believe everybody is cursed in the hoof, but I don't think that she's directly cursed by Blackjack.
No.
That would require Blackjack to actually be able of cursing.
Quite a bit.
And we all know Little Pip is the one who is special talent is cursing.
Indeed.
With a sunfire.
I tried writing back when I was starting out, and I was essentially I had no idea how to write a Fallout story. So I thought, well, in Fallout, people swear extremely graphically. I couldn't do it. I couldn't come up with these incredibly elaborate, wonderful, witty obscenities. So
Luna, fuck me with the moon.
I think early on, I just kind of went for her saying F-bomb, 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 F-bomb. And then I just gave up on it. I just couldn't have Blackjack swear like Little Pip. I couldn't pull it off.
Also, I guess it would be a little bit of a ripoff. I mean, Blackjack has her own ways of providing immature humor, so she doesn't need the swear thingy. Also, it would be you couldn't have topped it. I mean, it would have been like when you have Little Pip swearing all the time in the name of Luna and Celestia, and then actually meeting Celestia. It is just such a payoff to all her swearing. You couldn't have topped this. This you did your own thing, and that's better at this point, I would say. There's a lot of swearing, of course, and you kind of do expect it from Fallout because, it's not necessary, but it's an easy.
It's the world they live in.
Yeah, it's a world they fucking live in. Okay.
And besides, Blackjack could drink Little Pip under the table. And
this,
Calamity.
The drinking and the sex and she has so much lovable shit going on in her life.
You know what's frustrating about the sex is I write this usually month by month. That's what my rate has gone to, and it was even worse with this chapter because it was 2 months, and so you kind of forget that how often she gets laid in the most recent chapters because the writing has slowed down so much, and so it's just like, oh, this is a great idea, and then it's like, oh, crap, I've done this four chapters in a row now. So if you're reading those chapters, it's like, hey, Blackjack banged, Blackjack.
Have you Somber, have you read The Life and Times of a Winning Pony?
Bits of it.
Okay, so it could still be worse. Just saying. Oh god, I seldom came across a story that is completely PG but with so much sex in it as Time and Love of a Winning Pony. Nevertheless, to talk a little bit more about 72, also as from an outside perspective, I have to say I sort of it as a welcome breather. I mean, the last chapter was intense in so many ways. I mean, it was pretty much an ongoing action scene. They went from one action setup to the next, and then of course with the rather big emotional ending. So I guess the breather chapter wasn't the worst, and
I think it was needed, to be honest.
I
Just
mean,
to help you build up towards what's going to happen on the moon.
Yeah, I mean, on the moon probably shit will continue to go down constantly as well. So yeah, a little bit of a breather wasn't too bad. Then again, it was a perfect time to give a little bit of insight into the situation for all the secondary characters. And I guess, yeah, well, probably what we should do today is talk about maybe the situation in the shuttle and then the single flash, not forward, backward, but flash, the single flash, making up English as I go. Yeah, so as I said, overall a nice breather chapter, and well, they have been in this craft anyways for hours. Which a small thing I just wanted to mention about the chapter, because Vector and I already talked about it in one of the previous podcasts, if I recall correctly.
Is it the rocket science?
Rocket science, not rocket science directly, but the cosmos and MLP in general. It's like, I have been asked in comments about it, how I see it, how I understand the cosmos, because, I mean, in reality, we know we have a sun, we all circle around the sun, so when we think the sun rises, it's actually just the Earth turning, which I mean, we are supposed to believe that in MLP, Celestia and Luna rise the moon and the sun. So, whenever you go into in depth with cosmology, you always have the issue of, well, how to implement the law we have as given fact in the MLP universe with science. And it is like, even in this chapter, when you very explicitly explain that I believe the moon is in the closer orbit and the sun in the further orbit or something like that. Okay, but even so, it was like, okay, I do what I always do when it comes to this. I just go with it. I don't want to think about it because it hurts one way or another.
Wise man, very wise.
It is just so. I mean, you brought this on yourself by actually including space travel, so you deserve every migraine you get from it. Just saying.
Oh, sir. One of my editors, Heinz, great guy. Love the guy. He's a rocket scientist. Okay, and so when I had the idea for going to the moon 2 years ago or 3 years ago to deal with Horizons, you know, I wasn't sure if it was going to be on a rocket or if it was going to be on some kind of magical, you know, spike banishes to the moon or something. I don't know.
In the comics, they used a lasso.
Yeah, that made perfect sense.
So yeah, but when I said to Heinz, no, I'm going to go with the rocket, yeah, he got very involved at a technical level far higher than I could have ever even wanted to apply.
Does he play Kerbal Space Program?
What's that?
Did he play the Kerbal Space Program?
He is a master at the Kerbal Space Program.
Another one who likes to play it. Thank God for that.
Oh, God.
I play it too much.
No, I stayed away from it because it's a game you either obsess over or you suck at.
I suck at.
I would probably suck at.
I still haven't reached Juna.
But yeah, it's like, okay, for example, how big is the moon supposed to be? Like our moon, or?
I don't know.
I mean, it's big enough that you can travel there and build a space station on it.
I like to believe that it's fairly large. Maybe not as large as it is in real life, but it has to be large enough to cast, a really significant, shadow.
Yeah, like moonstones and stuff.
Yeah, because after all, Kat says it during Nightmare Moon kept the moon inner space between the sun and the moon, blocking it out. So I like to believe that they are, relatively similar in size, and that's why the moon was able to do this. It's just that the sun is much more brilliant and warm, and so it's a little further out, and so it kind of works in my head. But it has to be, large enough to, shadow most of the world. So
also, Equus is a ball, right? It's not a disc. It's a ball. Okay, like Earth.
We're not in the Discworld universe yet.
I couldn't wrap my head around a disc for Equus. I really couldn't.
But this is basically. Sorry?
If it's like a coin, what's on the other side?
Yeah, there wouldn't be gravity, I guess. I mean, that's the thing. There's really only downwards and not a core which sucks everything in. But yeah, cosmology and MLP don't mix well, and I just read over it, and because it's just, I really just read it, go with it. I just go with anything. I
just smile and nod.
Yes, exactly. I suspend every bit of disbelief just by not thinking about it, and it's
Well, I also, one other fun little bit of cosmology, the moon glows. It doesn't glow nearly as brightly as the sun, but it glows, because if it was really reflected sunlight like it is in our world, then those scenes where they have the sun and the moon popping up and down over the horizon, you'd only be able to see the side of the moon illuminated by the sun.
Yeah.
Seems legit.
Yeah. A glowing moon, ladies and gentlemen. Well, magic. But yeah, to go get a little bit into the content of the story, I guess. Yeah, I guess we start with the more obvious one. Okay, let's start. I wanted to start with the situation in the spaceship, which is an obvious one since it is a framing one, and all the other flashbacks are pretty much bedded into there. So let's start with, I would say, the most troublesome one, because you, Somber, don't have. You are not allowed to say anything. You have to have your. I don't want to see any expressions that give anything away. So you have to put on your perfect poker face, because you will definitively address all my answers in the later chapters. But nevertheless, I have to talk about it now and speculate about it, and so it's probably only Vector and me going to talk about it. But yeah, the glory situation.
Oh, don't toy with my emotions.
Yeah, the thing is, the last chapter was really like you went all the way there to make as sure as possible that, yep, she is pretty much dying on her own, she is still getting overrun by Brood, and you throw a balefire bomb on her. So you're really making it, and you even have a video transition with her to the very last moment. So there is barely any chance she could be alive. You made it very clear, and the author's comments below 72 also went into that direction, that she is so dead, the Grim Reaper could come in there and be like, well, nothing left to do for me, I'm moving on.
Anyone got a dustpan and brush?
Okay, and then this chapter starts. Of course, Blackjack is like, no, she's alive, she survived somehow. 5 stages of grief, denial, completely understandable. And there was no mistake, because Blackjack was so like, no, she's alive, she's alive, she's alive, right. It was the desperation you would suspect in this kind of situation. So I was still not really confused at this point, and I was like, okay, really, it's denial, and after all, and even when they bring up those grasping for straws, like, well, Little Pip survived in a similar situation, and she was in a kind of protected room, and maybe there was some shield popping up, and you bring this up a few times, but still, first-person perspective, we pretty much experienced Blackjack, so we also experienced Blackjack's denial.
Yeah.
And then the boo thingy.
I was about to say, yes.
The damn and boo thingy. So now I wonder, and I don't want to hear an answer. I want to read about it in due time.
No spoilers.
Exactly. And now I really wonder. So is this really all one big thingy for reflecting the denial situation Blackjack is in? Or is this a build-up to her still being alive after all, which kind of is a tricky thing, because on the one hand, sure, I would like, on a certain level, I would like to see Glory survive, because from the main cast, she is probably the one, I would probably say this about everyone, whoever you would have killed off, but she is probably the one I would like to would like to see survive most, because, well, Blackjack has been suicidal for half of the book, so you kind of get used to the sword. Then again, she already died 3 times, so you actually get used to the sword that she is a gunner. P21 has a very shortened lifespan, and if it wasn't for his newly discovered fatherhood role, I wouldn't be like, yeah, he's a grumpy dude, but he could get a sacrificial heroic ending. As evil as it sounds, I wouldn't mind Scott too much. I like her, don't get me wrong. I like her, she's funny, she is smart and everything, and it's politically as incorrect as you can be to wish for the child to die rather than another character. But Glory has so much going on to her. I mean, it was especially appearing in the flashback at the end when Blackjack was revisiting the entire span, how she got to meet Glory as this timid, frightened little filly hiding under the floor, and then now she was at the end this badass leather jacket wearing fighter character. But then she went through so much with her wing and her mutation and the rainbow thingy.
The joke blue.
And she also still has so much to live for. She is a brilliant scientist. She was about to help all the bad ponies and everything.
And she's having a thing with Tenebrae.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Also, poor Tenebrae. And so, on the one hand, I would be like, sure, I would love to see her survive. On the other hand, it would. I guess, Somber, you are an anime buff, so you probably are familiar with Naruto.
Actually, that's one that I have not gotten through because it's so long.
Okay, did you?
I have no right to complain about that.
But good point, actually. But so not gotten through. Have you watched until Shippuden? Shippuden. Okay, they made the switch from the like with Dragon Ball Z. They made the switch where everybody grows a little bit and they. Or something. It's a title. Okay, so for everybody who has seen Naruto. I just will. There was this when the guys who abducted Sasuke, and there was this big chase, and they split up in all those small one-on-one battles. And we got the fat kid having his battle, and at the end of his battle, there was also symbolism. He grew those ethereal wings. There were all those butterflies flying by. He had this kind of being done with everything, being in inner balance and everything, look on his face, and then he just drops, and you are like, whoa! He is so dead as it can be, trope-wise speaking. Right. And then they pull the Miracle Rescue a few episodes later, and I was, as relieved as I was to see him back, I was like, it feels kind of disappointing about the impact of the previous death scene was kind of taken away. So if you are actually going for a return of Glory, don't make it a second. I don't know if it is capable of pulling it off. I don't know if it is actually necessary, because if you even consider it, but. On the one hand, yeah, wanting to see her back, sure, but on the other hand, is it all just a red herring? Is it all just Blackjack's denial projected onto the viewer? I mean, I will see in due time, so I know it's very tempting for you to say anything. But yeah, if you bring her back, I have to wonder, was it planned all along? Was it just one big hoax, one big red herring? Did you give in to the pressure of the Glory fans crying each and every day in your inbox like, why did you do it? We loved her.
Oh, come on. I loved Glory as much as anyone else, but I understand the sacrifice that she made.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. I have not brought Lacune back.
True.
So a character would only come back if there was some kind of plot point that they still had to make.
Okay, that's nice.
So it's up to you if you think that that still exists for Horizons or not.
Fair enough, fair enough. This is one spoiler-free answer I can totally live with.
Yep, same here.
And it's also very satisfying because we know if she comes back, it is for a reason and not just fan service, which is something I can really live with. And I guess, sorry, Vector, I was now monologuing all the time. Do you want to throw in anything about it?
About Glory's death? No.
Oh,
well,
okay.
it was interesting seeing the denial. Like I said, it was having all the temptation when Boo's talking about Boo having a very bad connection, have been the sentences being all broken up.
Boo is one pony I would like to see less die. But then again, she probably won't because she is Boo.
Boo was supposed to die.
Was she?
She was.
No, blimey.
Oh, she was supposed to die. Okay.
Supposed to die when Blackjack, originally way back when, about a year and a half ago, the plan was that Boo, of course, can survive in the core because she's a blank. And Blackjack confronts Cognitum there. And Boo basically gets her poniness. She gets her flank and or her cutie mark and her soul, and basically, blows up part of Cognitum.
Die
to free Blackjack. And then, of course, what happens to things with souls in the core? Liquefies.
What?
So,
you have
yes, that was the plan. That was the plan.
You soul to instantly let her die?
Yeah. I'm not even.
You are lucky you can go this way, dude. Just saying.
Look, I don't here's the problem with my writing. I seldom realize how horrifying, good or bad something is till somebody tells me so. And so when I kind of talked about this with some other folks, they went, no, dude, you can't do that. Just think of poor Ricks of everyone. So many folks love Boo, and to have her, get her cutie mark, save Blackjack, and then die. No, you're not going to do that. And so I didn't. Instead, I went with, instead of her dying, Discord died. Discord took the bullet. And so Boo broke the story. She wasn't supposed to survive, and after that I had a hard time remembering to include her in stuff because she was supposed to be dead.
I think we raised the question, didn't we, AnY, about what happened to Boo after Blackjack got switched into the clone. When she was over in the castle.
Yeah. So yeah, it was all just that's what happens when you have a plan, and then you deviate from the plan, and you realize, oh crap, that's not going to work out.
Oh, wow.
And I've had many of those. Many of those.
Oh, while we are talking about Boo, how much is he inspired by Flufflepuff?
By Flutterpuff? I honestly, the big the big pink.
Yes.
Barely any.
Really? Because she
really,
so reminds me of her. Not speaking, being all cute and like. I was betting she was highly inspired by Flufflepuff.
She wasn't supposed to be cute. She was supposed to be a little creepy or sad, really. But apparently, everyone found her adorable.
Creepy, cute.
I on that.
It's the kind of thing you can't predict.
No.
Yeah, and one advantage of writing a serial is, I could see, well, obviously people care about this character. It's gonna suck when she has to die, but I can play on that and give people that like her a little more enjoyment before she's ultimately slaughtered in the meatpacking plant that is Project Horizons. And she broke the rules. She broke the story. She's that powerful. She's the strongest character in Horizons.
Well, okay. Vector, I want to go on next topic for you because otherwise I will continue monologuing all the time.
That's all right. Let me just think. Because we're staying towards what's happening in the capsule, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Once again, it was funny to see that P21 was staying as Blackjack's anchor to sanity. You know, when Scotch Tape is being like, really sad, saying that it's her fault that Gloria's died because she held the hatch shut.
Yeah.
Then P21 goes to the point that, well, it's actually my fault. I should have stayed with her to help save her life. To be honest, neither of them had a good decision to make. If one had done something different, something else could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
Because I said, how would you have fought Legate without P21 freezing him?
Yeah.
It's so easy. Oh, sorry.
And what P21 was really doing was he didn't, truly think that. What he was doing was trying to snap Scotch Tape and Blackjack out of that, oh, it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault. He's like, no, it's the Legate's fault. And that's the only person we should be blaming right now. And so, yeah, he threw out, no, it's actually my fault. And they're like, what? It's like, your fault? How could it be your fault? So, yeah, that was what he was trying to do there, was to snap them out of that whole recrimination thing. But you are right, he is Blackjack's foundation. She would have fallen apart long, long ago.
She would have probably fallen apart right at the beginning if it wasn't for P21 quite near to it.
Yeah, she either would have died, or she probably would have ended up either a Raider or a Reaper, depending on how long she lasted.
Bit like her memory flash, it was when she was basically arguing with herself about how she. Yep.
She would have tried to be security for the Wasteland, but with no moral foundation, and eventually just would have been whatever my might says is right.
She'd have been another Deus in the
Red is dead.
Yeah.
What is it? Red is dead, yellow is mellow?
Yeah, red is dead, yellow is mellow.
Oh, yes.
I mean, this was a more fun.
Blue. Nothing rhymes with blue. Damn it.
If it's blue, it is cool. No, it doesn't work. Damn it.
Exactly.
Well, so what else? But in the capsule, we also got, especially, we will in the revised version, I happen to know will come, or is it already?
It's out.
It's already. For everybody who read the chapter when it came out, there is a little bit revised about a certain joke.
Yeah, getting stuff in the eye.
Yeah. So there is no more stuff in the eye by now, but
no, we changed it to something a little less squicky for some readers.
Yeah, and instead we get a little bit more talk about. We go a little bit more in depth about how Scotch Tape feels about Blackjack, and before that we also got a bit about how P21 feels about Blackjack, and also some really nice moments, I have to say. I mean, how I believe, have there already been jokes about what? I mean, they have a little bit, at least been where the jokes about we are the most whiniest bunch of heroes, or and now they are a little distracted family, but in a lovable way. So I really loved those moments surrounding that scene.
It's sadly for Scotch Tape, they can't be an Alabaman Appalachian. No, it's gotten to the point where she just can't see Blackjack as any kind of a romantic figure. Even though at that moment she might want to, it just doesn't work in her head.
But to be honest, you can't forgive P21 for what he told Blackjack. Sorry.
I mean,
yeah, that
couldn't it have been at least anything else but apples? I mean, the sugar bombs.
Now, the big question is, did she really, or was P21 messing with
Well, as Scotch Tape said, Dad, you're evil. That was mean.
That was low.
A little bit.
So, did anything else transpire in the spaceship?
Well, we had Blackjack and Peter going at it again,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they've turned that capsule into a snow globe.
Ah! This is also an image.
Here, move along, folks.
Sorry.
That's right.
Oh, Vector, I can already see you draw a snow globe image of that capsule.
No, I'll just do the capsule up from the outside and have Scotch egg. Oh my god, it's everywhere!
Or her being at the door like, let me out, take me back. Oh, vacuum. Oh, God. Oh, God, funny. The vacuum joke. Oh, at the end. What was it? Something vacuum. Extreme vacuum or some hard vacuum. What? It's very clean. That's what it says. Oh, boy. Blackjack. Seriously. Get a dictionary.
No, she has a dictionary. She knows what a vacuum is.
Well, she does.
That means you have to vacuum it really, really hard. He has no science skill whatsoever. So.
Oh my God. Anything else in the spaceship? I believe really not. As I said earlier, we got the main character sit in the spaceship and nothing to do. So let's see all the flashes. One that stuck with me rather a lot was the one from Candlestick's point of view. Mm-hmm. I mean, first of all, I can't wait for when you. I hope you do when you kill off Toaster. I so despair this guy, and I hope you get to him before he is able to finish off Dazzle, because that's I know that the entire Dazzle Candlestick thingy has been such a minor footnote on the entire story. I believe they both have been in this funny meeting when Blackjack met with the 4 representatives or 3 representatives of the group. They were Dazzle and Candlestick. I remember, and the Flasher was Dazzle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, then we got this. It was actually doing another flashback episode. Now I remember, or Flash episode, the one after the time gap, when we also were like when Candlestick was in the after brawling match in the arena, and he and Dazzle already had googly eyes a little bit for each other. And even then, Toaster was a dick. Not so much of it, but I didn't like him back then already. But even so, it was such a tiny footnote. You see, it stuck with me, and so it was like when Toaster was like talking about offing Dazzle, I was like, kill him, Candlestick, kill him right here, right now. You get through the Brood without him. Don't give him a chance. So yeah, this stuck with me, and also, sure, at this point in time, Candlestick couldn't act against Toaster because they needed to stick together. They needed to raid the bunker. But I was really like but he didn't resist. But yeah, okay, he couldn't. This was one aggravating flash, because I was really like, oh God, Candle, please, you have to do something about Toaster before it gets too late. And then again, will we ever see it? Because they are not the protagonists. There will probably not time for Blackjack to hope into the what is it called? Percepticon? Perceptron. There will probably not be really much time to jump into it. So the question is, how will we get all those side stories that are happening right now? You did a lot of teasing there with all the different raids going on and breaking off.
Well, remember, Blackjack had a long flight to the moon, and so she
flight
back.
Which kind of implies that she survives the moon. But yeah.
Just anyway, we didn't hear that one.
Exactly. Well, there's still shit going on Equus that needs to be solved. So, because the story ends basically if she dies, since she is our narrator, she kind of needs to get back to solve stuff with the legate and so on. So yeah, it kind of was not really so spoilery. But I wanted to go somewhere else.
Yeah, because you know there has to be a final showdown between Blackjack and the Legate.
Yeah.
They met twice before. The first time the Legate just curb stomped her. The second time was a lot closer. The third is the match.
Yeah.
The third one for the win.
He has been I got it right. The Legate is pretty much immortal and has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. I mean, he has been toe to toe with Discord before Discord was imprisoned. So he also had this thingy, this Phoenix thingy in him, or is it more recently? Because it looks and acts like a Phoenix talisman, but the Phoenix talisman has only been developed by Rarity during the war effort.
Okay.
So.
Way back when, Sakashi told the story of the legendary warrior that got so proud he demanded the stars make him effectively immortal and invincible, and the stars granted his wish. And so that was kind of a primitive Phoenix talisman created by the zebras, and it literally replaces his heart. He has a heart of stone. But
not really a pun, but we'll play on words. But continue, sorry.
Yeah, or cheap symbolism, whatever. And so from that point on, you know, he was like, yeah, hey, this is great. I have superpowers, awesome. And then he tries to have any kind of relationship or connection with his people, and it gets blown up in his face. Again and again and again and again, to the point where he's just like, fine, screw all of you. I'll just kill you all. And then I'll go somewhere else and kill all of them too. You know.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
How most wishes go, they always turn out bad in the end.
And the deal is, what's sad is he's miserable, you know, at his deepest core. But he's incapable of dying. And
reminds me of a certain other character.
Yes. And by this point in the story, he's so twisted up that he doesn't even want to die anymore. He wants to make sure he kills everything else first, and then dies.
Yeah. As I said, reasonable.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why Blackjack's whole, you can do better, you can have a chance,
doesn't really work with him.
No.
Trying a little too hard here, Blackjack, trying it with him.
No, it was fun seeing, I think it was Storm Chaser going on about how he was no strategist when it came to using the brood. Yeah. If I had his numbers, I could have won this battle in 2 hours flat.
Oops, okay.
The big danger, though, is that he's getting smarter. He's adapting the brood, and so that's going to cause some problems.
How was it with the twin brood unicorns? We are adapting. You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Oh, assimilation! This is something the brood still needs to learn.
Oh, I mean, leave the Borg out of this one.
I mean, they already got horns. They have what's it called? Cybernetic stuffness. Augmentation. They got augmentation. They kind of assimilate the traits, at least, by creating horned and winged zebras. So they could start literally assimilating, but then again, the war will probably...
The Legate wouldn't want him. The Legate sees the brood as kind of an extension of himself. And he's projecting his soul, his drive, his will into the brood now. Because after all, he does have that hotline to the stars.
And the hotline to the brood with the receiver in his heart.
Yeah.
Actually, I do see one party with the brood now. They're Daleks. They're obsessed with perfection. Yes. They have a master leader who's basically insane. So we got Davros.
Yeah. And the Legate is Davros. It's I like it.
What have I done?
You need a British guy to see Doctor Who patterns everywhere, but it's great. We need to talk more, Vector. Well, congratulations, Somber. You reinvented. Congratulations, Somber. You just reinvented the Daleks. Take this. Then again, they are one of the most brilliant Doctor Who villains, so still good job.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, if it is of any relief for you, quite a while back, before the entire Brony thingy started, I was about to write a fiction. Not a fan fiction, just really a fantasy fiction. And then I also had a short summary of the events taking place and the theme I was going with, and I presented it to a friend, and he was like, well, that's Lord of the Rings. And after that, I lost the entire motivation writing it. Because it was like, I mean, I had my unique characters, I had my unique twist on everything, but nevertheless, it was like, I could never look at it the same way without like, yeah, great, we have this one character who carries one very important artifact, which needs to be taken from the evil overlord guy, so he could not rule the world, and shit! It's Lord of the Rings!
Here's what you have to remember. There really aren't a lot of different kinds of stories. If you really boil stories down, there's maybe 24 stories. There's like, you know, saving something. There is the maturity story. There's the revenge story. There's the mystery. And it's not so much that you do a retelling Lord of the Rings. What matters is that you are giving the reader an experience that they can enjoy. And it doesn't matter how many similarities, as long as it's not an apparent rip-off or parody of the Lord of the Rings. I mean, if you have a wizard named Wandolf and, you know, a small half-man named Fremo Bergano carrying, you know, the circlet of power, yeah.
Then it might be a little bit too close. Yeah.
Because what you're talking about is the MacGuffin, and that's been used in literally thousands of stories. So using it isn't bad. That's just how stories go.
Well, I had a different ending plan.
Well,
she
EC 1101 can go under that category as well.
Well, oh yes, yeah, MacGuffin, yeah. Everybody says, "Oh, ha! Your story is only Lord of the Rings."
No, it's not.
Wait, Blackjack turns from Blackjack the White into Blackjack the metal black one. So this is like Gandalf, completely the same. And we have a fellowship, and it's probably the same.
But like you were saying, that story theme can be carried on in so many different.
I know. I mean,
things.
just look at the hero's journey. The hero's journey is not a structure you design your story by. The hero's journey was an observation by whatever his name was. That so many stories follow this pattern unconsciously. It was just a very good pattern to tell a story, and he just discovered it and put it to paper. The pattern already exists, and it's like Somber said, there are only so many good original ideas for stories, and nowadays we live in the postmodern age, so there isn't a lot of originality left at all. And,
I mean, even something like, say, Inception, which has a fascinating premise for the movie. If you really boil it down, is a caper. You know, how do characters X accomplish objective Y? That's all Inception is. Even when you get into the mind within a dream, within a dream, within a dream, that's all the story is a caper. But with how the caper is framed, that's what fascinates us. So we like MacGuffins. We like revenge stories. We like coming-of-age stories. What matters is that your coming-of-age story or your MacGuffin story entertains the reader. And as long as you have people enjoying it and engaging with it and wanting it, you've accomplished your goal.
Yeah. I mean, I know how many Octavia vinyl shipping fics I read, and they all have an insane amount of similarities. But I enjoy, at least the ones I enjoyed. The ones I didn't enjoy, I didn't enjoy. But the ones I did enjoy, I enjoyed.
Right. I need to see a vinyl Octavia shipping fic where they're both secretly superheroes. Better yet, one's a superhero.
Writers get to it. But so, like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, so that they don't know it about each other, or
Absolutely.
That would be fun.
Okay, who do I know who writes fictions? Except you, of course, but you are busy with finishing Horizon, so you are not allowed to do it before you finished it.
I'm tapped.
Oh God, I can already see. I shouldn't have said this because I'm already getting at least 2 recommendations or requests for reading and reviewing fictions each week. Now I literally asked for somebody to write one.
Uh-oh.
Oh crap! Here we go.
Our life is never a quiet one. You should see everyone people getting commissions off me.
I guess so.
It's getting ridiculous.
Well,
well.
Hey, could be worse. It could be 10 years from now when people will be like, my little what?
Dum dum dum. Well, but this is the entire how will the future of the fandom is an entire podcast-filling debate. Believe me, I have already done it. So let's get back to the original topic. We were still in the first Flash, so I'm just continue calling it Flash because it's not back, not forward. It's just you know what I mean. Because there was another thing in the Candlestick Flash. Big Daddy's exit. I know that you told me before that Project Horizon is very, very anime-inspired, and God, it shows in this exit. So anime.
Hey, can you imagine a better way for him to go? Seriously?
Taking down a tank with his bare hooves.
Yes. He really had only 2 exits. I did not want him to die of old age. I did not want him to, and I did not want him to be beaten. That was something that I felt would have been really hard to show and even be believable, because essentially it would have been he would have faced the Legate, and the Legate would have curb stomped him. And I honestly did not want to do that because I like Big Daddy, and so I think him going out, passing the torch to Candlewick and Brutus and the other Reapers was a better way to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this exit. As I said, very, very anime, but I liked it.
Plus, there was still some potion left in that bottle.
Yep, sure did. Let's just hope Candlestick doesn't burn up as well, which would be kind of ironic considering his name. But anything else about this flashback, especially Vector, I guess, or Flash?
No, it was all pretty much covered by my end.
Mm-hmm. So, what is another one? I didn't take notes about all the Flash we have. So we have the one with Crumble, whatever. Why do all the Applejack Rangers have so strange names? I mean, it started with the original one, but with Psalm and the Full Metal Alchemist Pony and
oh, Stronghoof.
Wait, to be honest, when I watched Full Metal Alchemist, I was never sure, was he supposed to be beautiful or was it just his perception of himself? In Project Horizon, it's obvious that he really is supposed to be super beautiful.
I honestly don't know. I did not expect him to last beyond that chapter. I thought he'd show up, get some laughs, and never show up again, and then he...
Oh, you got some laughs.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I was sitting there reading that chapter and I was saying, I'm recognising this guy. This sounds familiar. Oh my God, it's Armstrong.
Yeah. Fortunately, my editors talked me out of bringing Mustang and Hawkeye in as well.
Yeah, that could have spoiled a good thing.
That could have been a little too much. But still, his name is Mustang. I mean, come on. He's been ponified before there was even more My Little Pony.
But you got your Ghost in the Shell scene.
I got so many scenes.
Yeah, but that's the one with the tank.
And honestly, looking back, I probably should have done it much, much less. But that's another problem with writing and publishing it as a serial. Is there's no time to really go back and look through and say, oh, these last 3 chapters all have an anime reference. I should just cut it down to 1. And so, unless you have like people constantly keeping tabs of this. You can't just go in something that you published 3 months ago and take out a reference and replace it without causing all kinds of disruptions throughout the rest of the following chapters.
Example, keeping Boo alive, messing up your current writing.
Well, that was just a decision change I made. If I were to actually imagine how many revisions I would have to do if I went back to chapter 6970 and had her die. You know, all of a sudden I would have to change what happened with Cognitum. I'd have to change her bringing her the Perceptron. I'd have to change tons of stuff. And I honestly don't want to rewrite all that. Call me lazy.
Understandable. Wait, what? You got better things to do with your time than revising your 1.5 million long story?
Yeah, way back when there was a serious debate in my editor team about Lacunae. And one of the editors wanted to remove her from the story completely.
Retroactively, or
yeah. He's like, we need to take out the Legate, we need to take out Lacunae, we need to just focus on Project Horizons and finding it and ending it. And I don't think he realized just how arduous it would have been to try and go through and pick out that thread that had been established. It was incredibly problematic at the time, and ultimately he decided to bow out of the editing team just because he felt Horizons was going in the wrong direction. And you know, he had a fair point. He wanted a nice, tight, concise story that would have been finished in 500,000 words.
Well, he was on the wrong project, obviously.
Yeah. Well, no, I just can't write short, and part of the problem is I get ideas and I run with them, not stop and think, well, no, maybe I should save this for another story. I just get an idea and I throw it in. Then I have to deal with it. So, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, the way I looked at it, it's more for the journey than it is the destination.
Yeah, but we've been on this train forever.
Yeah, but look at the places we've seen. Thunderhead was still one of my favourites.
Last bit of civilization.
Exactly. And seeing it all fall to pieces in hours.
Well, did you notice that it was shaped like a bubble?
Yeah, the detective.
Yeah. But it was really like when Blackjack was like, oh shit, I brought the Wasteland to Thunderhead. It was when what's it, her name appeared and started killing. It was really like, oh shit, he really did. It's like, no, the last, as you said, the last piece of civilization, and the Wasteland got there. I didn't like the moment, but I liked it as a whole. I liked it in the context. It was like, where to go. But in this moment, I was really like, oh shit, why? But yeah, we back to we just fall back a few dozen chapters. So
sorry.
Still, no.
We're
just here to kind of get us on track again, because we are still talking about Psalm and Stronghoof and Crumble, Cookie.
Crumpet.
Yes,
Nectar knows this.
That's really a thing because it's so big. You have so many characters, and it takes me usually so long to just remember who this is.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also a very interesting small thing that you brought in there with Psalm still being torn between those two motivations, which are both completely understandable. With with all the regret she carries that she doesn't want to kill, but on the other hand, she is an excellent sniper, so she could really make a difference out there. She could protect ponies.
But she's obsessed with not being a murderer again.
And what's sad is that she now sees this as this is my chance to get it right, to say no more. I'm not going to be that person that I was that killed Big Macintosh. I'm not going to be that kind of person anymore. I mean, it broke me. And now it's like, but if I don't, people that need me, that care for me, are going to die. So what do I do? And so, like, Crumpets is just like, look, it's a choice, okay? You're choosing not to fight. We have to fight. Okay, how nice for you that you get to, decide if you do it or not.
But there are thousands of people out there fighting right now and dying.
Yeah, and you're choosing not to. So yeah, there was a little bit of guilt trip on Crumpet's part, but after a little orientation revision, we got that kind of squared away with Crumpet's feelings toward Stronghoof, little Tassundra there. So.
So you revised that part as well, or?
We ran into a little bit of a problem.
No, like since for example I read it. I mean I read it. I got my version of the chapter.
No.
Okay.
We changed one line and this is just how big a revision can be. We changed one line in, I think, chapter 59. Oh God, I know. 59, back during the Society arc, and had Crumpets, instead of saying casually, "Oh no, I'm just for the mares," because after all, I have many lesbian characters. Have her give a much more ambiguous answer. And so yeah, just changing one line, we then had to go through and okay, we have to change that. We have to change that. To get to where we are now in 72. So yeah, even changing one line can cause all kinds of a mess in later chapters. It's infuriating. So.
Dum dum.
I think they call it the can of worms theory, don't they?
No, it's kind of like pulling a thread on a sweater and the whole thing falls apart.
That's true.
Or stitching a patch on the sweater and then the thingy is not, the arm is not accessible anymore. Yeah. And you have to cut an entire new hole for it.
I just find, anyway.
Sweater analogy, everybody. Brought to you by us.
No, it was good. Like I said, it was good seeing that Sam trying to learn that she can't, even though she doesn't want to fight anymore and be a murderer, she can't just ignore that everybody else is fighting for the future as well. And even though she doesn't like it, she will have, for now, she will have to just help them and be the sniper once again. But she knows her mistakes and she's not going to make them for a second time.
Yeah, but then again, what her issues with her mistakes were not necessarily rational. They were like projecting this "I am a murderer" and everything on herself, even so she was not more a murderer than many other people. Okay, maybe later on when she was just picking off survivors on this party protocol or whatever it was. But oh well.
Psalm's whole attitude about being a murderer. I actually read a few papers on PTSD with marksman soldiers, and it's a real problem for vets with PTSD who actually see the people that they kill on a steady basis. Which is why it was so damaging for her. I mean, if you spray 1,000 bullets and you afterwards see, a dozen bodies, maybe you killed them, maybe one of your friends killed them, who knows? All you know is that they're dead.
Pick them up with a scope. You look them into the eyes or before pulling the trigger. So
yeah, and so it's much more traumatic to the shooter, and somebody with that kind of training has to mentally fortify themselves for getting through that. And the problem is that because war was so new in Equestria, they didn't know about PTSD or anything like that. They're just keep shooting. You're taking out their shamans. You're taking out their important people. You're taking out their officers. You know, you have to keep killing for Luna, and it tore her apart.
Now she has PTSD and is still stuck in a war again.
Right, and it's the worst place for her because, you know, she wants to get her life and personality back together again. But on the other hand, there's this same drive she had back when she was a unicorn. There's a war that has to be fought, and she has people she cares about in danger. And so, what is she going to do? I don't
know. Did we have other flashes? I believe. Oh,
we
yes,
did.
the one with the Ghoul Squad plus Zebra.
And we had the Mayor Dwell flash as well.
Oh, right, the Mayor Dwell as well. Ah, another one which ended with a teasing cliffhanger. God damn it. Now I can already see you being completely fed up and be like, oh well, let's have Blackjack die on the moon and we never get resolution to any of those side stories. Like, oh, I changed my mind. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Vector, want to talk about one before I start monologuing again?
Once again, it was quite good. Having, well, this is going a bit off the track. Having Scotch tape going into the members as well.
Right.
When she was basically, I think she went as a unicorn, didn't she? Went to see what Whisper and Stygius were doing.
Right. First, you wanted to go into the Zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she didn't have any real connection with any of the Zodiacs. The Zodiacs are sadly they fell by the wayside. The story left them behind. And I've always felt kind of bad about that because, you know, when I was in my anime, God, I still am in my anime framing mind, you know, Blackjack would have eventually worked her way through all of the Zodiacs. But the story just kind of went, Zodiac, Schmodiac, and moved on.
It's a bit like a Dragon Ball Z thing.
Also, I really can't recall all the replacements. I can still remember the original Jiminy. But what was... It was mentioned that Jiminy has a cool trick, but I don't know which... I can't even recall which one, so... The new
Gemini?
Yeah,
Gemini?
Gemini. Yeah, it's, I guess, a little bit of a German pronunciation I'm doing here.
Yeah, their thing was that they could become intangible.
Yeah, the original ones.
Yeah,
they could move through walls, and that's how the one of them died, getting stuck in a wall. But I can't recall what. The new one. I can't recall it at all. It's just so underplayed.
She's schizophrenic.
Oh, okay.
There's
only so much you can do with a Gemini theme.
Yeah. So essentially, even the Scotch tape goes, they're boring.
Yeah,
someone else.
It's really, I mean, the Zodiacs have so much potential, but then again, you can't pay attention to all of them, and then to all the characters you created with potential, and now it's like, well, the Zodiacs kind of got the short end of the stick. Nobody cares about them, not even Somber.
I actually had, like, 4 other scenes planned. And then I realized, no.
Too long.
No, it's just way too long. I was going to show the Zodiacs. I was going to show Charity. I was going to show what's happening with the Society. And that's why finally I just had to throw the Perceptron on Scotch and have it given in second person.
Yeah, to at least mention everybody.
Yeah. Just so the reader knows this is happening there, that's happening there. And that also gave me the chance to drop the boo bomb that Blackjack's not in the Perceptron.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'll take the helmet off her, and you don't know what'll happen if you do that. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. I just recalled there was another flash, the one with Golden Blood.
Yes.
Yeah, that was when they're doing their the battle overlay kind of thing.
Yeah.
Having their chat with Storm Chaser and the others.
I like the annoyed Alicorn, like getting used as a projector.
Yes. The goddess is not a projector. You're not the goddess anymore, bubblegum.
The name Bubble. Ah, great.
I like to imagine that she used to run, a movie theater.
Ah, okay.
Ah.
So she was responsible for scraping the gum off the seats.
Oh, poor guy.
Now I am a mighty goddess. Wait, no, I'm not. I'm just a projector.
Again, I came full circle. But yeah, I believe there wasn't too much happening in that one, except, of course, the speech like, well, give me 2 hours in this army.
Yeah.
Well, we had Velvet saying she was grateful that the Alicorns weren't being used as weapons.
Yes. Pointing that out again, also.
Some people say that I did Velvet Remedy bad.
Really?
What do you think? Is she true to FoE, or did I take some liberties?
Well, she was never one for fighting, to be honest, so I think it was kept quite true. It's nice. It's good seeing the Alicorns not being like a war-obsessed species. They're much more smarter than that.
Mm.
So, no, I thought they did quite well.
Velvet doesn't want them all killed. I mean, Alicorns are incredibly potent, as a fighting position. But Alicorns can't reproduce, so every Alicorn that dies in this battle is one less than the entire population.
Mm.
So yeah, I thought that Velvet.
I believe Velvet wouldn't even be that calculating. She's just like she doesn't want anybody to die. So. And yeah, the Alicorns probably, especially since she kind of took them under her wing. Mm. Yeah, I don't. The problem is it a well-written Velvet or not? I really can't tell. I guess it could be a problem because confession time. I went through the original Fallout only by audiobook twice, but nevertheless only by audiobook. So it is, I have to admit, a less intense experience than reading yourself. So this might be a thing why I personally would have trouble to identify if a character is presented well or not. So I don't know, Vector.
So we're basically, like I was saying, it was good for the Alicorns. Like I said, it was fun seeing Storm Chaser again. Because going back a bit, she was one of the other characters I liked in the earlier stories.
Huh?
With the old Battle of Shadowbolt Tower.
Yeah. Now she's not a general anymore. Well, now she is a general again. Just different battle.
Yeah, I had to admit, at one point I was envisioning something groundbreaking, like bringing her warship, a crippled raptor in, saving the day at the last minute kind of thing, dropping on leg 8.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah, one of the characters I have.
No, it might annoy him for a while.
One of the characters I have actually trouble to recall where she was. And as I said, so many characters. God damn it! Was she the one helping? I mean, at some point, Blackjack and Co. infiltrated an enclave post, but without killing everybody. They just hit there, and then I believe Blackjack pulled something like making an announcement through her podcaster or something stupid like that. Yes. Something Blackjack, let's call it like this, because it's not necessarily stupid, it's just Blackjack. And was she the one getting them in there? I mean, she had somebody on the inside who actually helped them get in there and hide. Was this Storm Chaser? As I said, I have trouble keeping all of them apart.
What basically happened was, that was way back, in the early 50s. And they went to the Skyport to find out what happened to Lori's sister Dusk, who, if you recall, in Reaper nearly got killed by Blackjack.
Yeah.
And at the Skyport, they run into Dusk's lover, Lightning Dancer. Lightning Dancer's like, "Where is she?" And Blackjack's like, "What do you mean? I left her with some enclave." And Lightning Dancer's like, "Which enclave?" Tomorrow enclave. So.
But Lightning Dancer was also a character Blackjack already knew from before, so yeah.
So that's how she got into the Skyport and got.
But this wasn't. So Storm Chaser was the commander of one of the big skyships, then the one that got Blackjack into her offers before the Battle of on Thunder Cloud.
Yeah.
Okay. As I said, trouble keeping all the names to the correct characters.
Ah, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's a thing that comes with so big. I never read the JR talking thingies, but only watched the movies. But I have heard that it's also insane to read his stories and keep remembering who is who and stuff like this, because he also throws so many characters at people. And on the big screen, you can at least recall faces.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is I can remember names, but I forget what my characters look like, especially the secondary characters. So when I do another project, I'm going to be sure to have like a notebook or something, and whenever I write in any kind of a secondary character with like a name, jot the name down and a short description of what they look like, because otherwise I have to go to Heinz and say, was Charity an earth pony or a unicorn?
Oops. I could see this.
I think that's half the reason I made most of my vectors. Trying to keep put a face to the name when I'm reading was actually much easier.
Yeah.
Especially when people like Triage and people like Takeshi.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't always intend for secondary characters to become as prominent as they do. It's just the story is so damn big that to get to the end, these characters hang around and they kind of accumulate plot mass to the point where they become more and more important. Like Triage was never supposed to be a thing.
Never.
You know, Dr. Zodiac was going to be the big thing with the collegiate, and Triage was just a cynical, bitter unicorn. Then she popped back again, and she popped back again, and then popped back again, and now she is, in fact, the collegiate. I never planned that. That's the way the story went.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a natural thing when because you can't plan out a story in so much detail that a story kind of develops its own evolution in itself, and just keeping the main plot points intact, I guess, is what usually is the thing one should focus on. That when you have I once read an interview with KCAT where she explained how she wrote FoE, and it was basically she had the major plot points, like, I don't know, a dozen, so from beginning to end, and then when she started writing, she went between those two, she picked 2 plot points, and then she went into, okay, what happens in between, and created smaller plot points, and then she turned those into chapters, and then the chapters structured and everything. And if you have this kind of big, this macro plan, then you can go into micro. And if on the micro level stuff develops, characters grow bigger, it's If it doesn't disturb the overall plan, it's cool. So.
Yeah, and it didn't take long. Chapter 3 was the first time the plan got broken, because you were in the boneyard. I established that it was risky, and that there was lots of stuff. I went, well, Blackjack's new to the wasteland. There's a lot of stuff here that she could use. She'd want to take it. She's told not to by someone younger than her. So what is Blackjack, who we have established is not a smart pony, going to do? Is she going to listen to the person with experience, or is she going to think that there's no threat around her and take an ammo crate? Okay, she took the ammo crate. Well, that's going to trigger the consequence of this being a very dangerous area, because you can't say someplace is very dangerous, then have someone disturb it and not have something very dangerous happen. Mm-hmm. So she does something. What is the consequence of that action? Well,
pulled to pieces.
Someone has to die. Well, it can't be P21. It can't be Blackjack. It could be a nameless NPC, but then that's going to leave Scootle and Boing very, very, ticked off. And so essentially it boiled down to it was Boing that got killed. And I did not plan that. I planned her to stay with the Crusaders and be the Crusaders' protectors, and the story just went in a completely different direction. And I had a choice. Do I try and shoehorn it into my plan, or do I simply accept the consequences as the story throws them at me? And in most cases, I went with the latter, for better or for worse. It's one reason, though, why the story is so damn long.
Yeah, but then again, I believe it provides a more organic story, so...
I have to admit, when I was reading that bit when Scooter got killed, I was saying, okay, this is nothing like the first Fallout Equestria storyline. This is definitely something completely different.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't mean it to be.
No, that's actually a good thing in my book.
Well, yeah, the problem was having no idea how to write a Fallout story. Chapters 1 through 6 hew embarrassingly close to Fallout Equestria. And it's not till 7 when she's actually, dealing with the consequences and having an anxiety attack that I think the story kind of gets its own feet. So, yeah, at least I hope so.
Yeah. I also wonder, from my end, I mean, we have, to get back on track once again, we have, what was it, the 3 remaining flash, the one, the Golden Blood, the Mare-Duel, and what was the last one? We mentioned it earlier.
Sam? Sam, the Ghoul Squad?
Oh, the Ghoul Squad, yeah. I mean, basically with the bunker raids, so all a little bit of the same formula in the sense of, well, we go in, we got in a tough situation, and then we got a cliffhanger. So, I know no reason to apologize. I personally don't have too much in detail stuff to talk about. I'm not sure what's about you, Vector.
No, I didn't have much to report. It's good having the cliffhanger was good because he's going to keep you interested to see what happens later on. Because like Somber was saying, they've got to go back from the moon yet. So looks like it's going to be a good opportunity for rounding up what might be going on down in the hoof.
Right.
But it was fun. One bit I did like when you had the cyber Pegasi coming back again. You know, the 3 of them. And that one guy going, I don't have a penis.
Even so, since you brought up the fact that we don't go by those names anymore, they are probably characters we know, aren't they?
Yeah, there's the 3 cyber Pegasi that she ran into in
Spike Slayer? Oh no,
in Shadowbolt Tower.
In the tower itself, okay.
Yeah. She just rolled a spark grenade, and she's like, "That's way too easy." But yeah, they were disabled, and so when Shadowbolt Tower was evacuated, they were evacuated as well. So not all of the cyber Pegasi under light hooves died.
That's good to know. But so we don't know them from before that because we don't go by these names anymore. Kind of hinted towards the fact that you don't have to write that they have different names if you don't know their old names. It's well, it could be a red herring, but smile. That was what I was thinking when I was reading it. Was like, okay, do we know? Can it be the 3 we met? Blackjack met at Spike's when he was traveling to Spike's cave. But then again, I believe they have been from a different faction, so they would not have ended up in the. Yeah, exactly. They would not have ended up in the Cyber Pegasus factory, the Cyber Pegasus factory, where we turn Pegasi into cyber.
No.
So yeah, this was just like, why give them new names if we don't know the old ones to disguise who they are? But yeah, as I said, I was wondering if it is those 3, but those 3 have been from the different factions. I was like, no, can't be.
Yeah.
But yeah, Then again, so many characters. Ah.
I know. And now I'm adding even more characters, like Calamity's brother comes back.
Yes, I know. I also, this one was also for me like, okay, it's a brother. Oh, Wonderbolt, yeah, right. And the Wonderbolts in the original story were the one hunting them in the Ever Before, so it,
lens flare.
Getting everything into context was like, oh god.
Sorry. Though, I kind of wanted, I was trying to ask myself, does Homage have the skills to kind of untangle this mess that has been thrust upon the towers in this area? And so I was kind of thinking that it would be nice to show these Wonderbolts and ex-Wonderbolts what at least happened to two of them.
Yeah. I mean, we never really got their redemption. It was like in the story itself, in Fallout Equestria, they got the additional memories, and they stopped the pursuit, but they never turned, at least as I can recall, they never turned around and came back and were like, oh.
Sorry.
Yeah, they had that whole thing in the open ground, didn't they? The argument about that, but then they just flew off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anything else? Anybody? Because I'm pretty much done with my notes. As I said, the remaining flashbacks haven't been too. I mean, they were well written, but I don't have much to say about this in depth because I could be like, I could recapitulate everything that happened. Like, oh, and that happened this, and yeah.
Like you, my notes are pretty much well covered, actually. Yeah.
And now Rampage.
And it was.
And now Rampage.
Oh yeah, and good little hint with the Welcome Princess Luke sign. That was a nice little callback for me. I thought that was good.
Yeah. Rampage introduction was nice. She walked like a mare that couldn't be hurt by anything. But well, she was immortal, so I can't recall the exact wording, but it was a nice introduction how she turned around the corner and was like, "Hey there, I have to kill you." And
that's the other point, wasn't it? We had the Cognitum flash as well.
Ah, right.
That when Cognitum knew that she was actually watching her and trying to negotiate with her.
Yeah, I was really like, God damn it! Now they both have. I mean, the problem earlier was like the Cognitum was like, well, I have to catch my rocket. See you. Now they could have actually a heart-to-heart talk, but Blackjack is not a great negotiator. So instead of convincing Cognitum that the legate is screwing her over,
the problem is there's really nothing to negotiate. Cognitum is functioning under the understanding that the Eater of Souls is just a machine. And you have to remember, she, at her core, is just a machine. And so she thinks she understands it, that it doesn't have a dimension beyond something that can be bound and controlled and used to do the things that she wants to do. And so when she hears Blackjack talk about, zebra abominations from the stars, she's just like, you're fucking
superstitious nonsense.
Yeah, superstitious nonsense. And she refuses to indulge it because how can you test that at this point? She's not going to not let Horizons fire because if she does, then who knows if the system may malfunction, or who knows if the legate could find some way up there. He does have access to star magic. Who knows what weird ways he could move through things. So she's just not going to risk it. She has her plan. She's going to follow that plan. And remember, Blackjack's, virtue is perseverance, and now Cognitum has a part of her perseverance, her ability to overcome adversity.
Her victory.
Yeah. So it really boils down to who is right. Is it the legate or is it Cognitum? And we know there's definitely more to this than just a machine.
Yeah, I mean, we had the second or third death of Blackjack when she actually saw the Eater of Souls.
From the Souls perspective.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is yeah, as much as a nice cliffhanger it was one that left you with so many bam like the last one. So it's just like okay,
Yeah.
and
This is
well,
going to go down one way.
Yep, yeah, that's the thing probably because otherwise it's like chapter 73 starts. We get a few pages of a nice duel, and then the Rampage kills Blackjack, and the story ends. So
No.
exactly, this is not what is going to happen. So it is kind of well, you can kind of predict what might happen. But yeah.
There was a time, couple months back, where I might have actually done that.
You were tempted to just get it over with.
Not necessarily kill Blackjack, but just essentially have her abort Horizons without going to the moon. Where essentially they'd have the showdown at the lunar spaceport, she'd defeat Cognitum at the spaceport, and then deal with the Eater and the Legate in the core, and story's done. But I just felt that would be extremely cheap and messy, and didn't feel that'd be a good ending for the readers.
Mm.
So.
Oh, well. Then again, we would have a lot less cosmology to think about.
Just go by Blackjack or Blackjack. It's just magic.
Yeah.
This being primarily an analyst, or at least, no, I'm still saying I am a little bit of analyst or / review or whatever, a guy who has to throw in a lot of arguments for the claims I do. The it's magic argument is one of the ones you get really, really bad looks for. So, well, it's magic.
Magic.
Yeah, I tried this in. It was my first Ask video when I was talking about reproduction ways of ponies. And I explained the thing from Time and Life of the Winning Pony, where there is actually a magic of love, which can create a pregnancy between two mares. And I was like, hey, sure, it's magic, it's such a looked down upon argument, but oh, come on, it was yesterday. And the thing is, but in this case, I was like, hey, we talk about a show where friendship literally is magic, and you can weaponize it in rainbow beams and everything. So having a magical induced pregnancy sounds actually reasonable considering the context, magic world and everything. And I still got shit for this explanation. I explained it, that it makes sense. And I got a parody when somebody was like, oh, it makes so sense. He actually makes a video parodying my entire my entire argument and putting it on something else. And I was like, I was serious. It didn't make sense. So yeah, it's magic is always a bad argument, even if you mean it.
Yeah. Heinz says that frequently as well. Where it's like, okay, so how does this work, and this work, and this work, and this work, and this work? And I'm like,
magic.
So yeah.
But it's a magical world. If the magic you use follows certain rules, which would already be a step further than the show goes, because the show uses magic whatever it feels like, if your magic follows certain rules, it's fine. You can use magic as the explanation.
And sadly, I went with the slightly more plausible but far more stickier estrus route. The things I gotta do to get my characters to shag sometimes. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess, so the obligatory question to the end. So when we can expect the next chapter, Mr. Somber?
Well, hopefully within
You
a
had to
month.
do it, didn't you?
Of course.
Put pressure on the author.
You do realize, however, sir, that you have jinxed us.
Probably, because whatever date you say now will not happen. So you could undermine the jinx by naming a ridiculously late date.
You're really tempting fate, aren't you?
Don't worry, Somber. This is the guy who's bugging me to get a Cognitum blackjack picture done.
Here's the deal. When we try and brush a page, what we call brushing, Heinz will very frequently say, "Oh, look, we only have 15 more pages to go," and then someone will disconnect, Google Docs will crash, computer won't work.
So you already had your fair share of jinxing on a regular basis.
This chapter 72 took us, I think, 7 editing sessions to get done, just because real life kept screwing us over again and again and again. And very frequently, because somebody said, "Hey, look, we got only this many pages to go."
Never tempts fate.
Okay, so I guess we leave it at it comes out when it comes out.
Hopefully soon. I really want to get the whole story finished before Everfree.
When is Everfree?
Chapter 4. I believe it's towards the end of May.
Oh, okay.
Damn. I'll be in the Navy by then.
Sorry.
That's all right. I'll just read it in the back room.
All right.
But okay, I guess it's time to wrap things up here. I don't really think that a chapter discussion gives a lot of space for final statements, at least unless you, Somber, want to repeat once again how much you dislike this chapter.
Oh, it was just a pain.
Yeah.
This chapter also scared me because 2 weeks into it, I lost the flash drive that I store my story on while writing it, and it was actually found destroyed at the school that I was subbing at. I lost 21 pages, and trying to rewrite something is agony because you forget what you forget stuff that was in the first rendition. It doesn't have the same flow. It's extremely frustrating to try and rewrite something a second time with the same feeling that you got the first time. And so it was extremely discouraging. I mean, there were times I really thought I wasn't going to be able to finish Horizons because this chapter had gotten so tangled up. But I'm glad to see I was wrong.
Well, good thing to hear. In a sense, thank you for being around. This worked rather well, even though I still admit I was a little bit scared about the spoiler heaviness of talking directly to you.
I think you show some good restraint.
Yeah, what I'll probably do is we can probably do another one when it's all finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but you pretty much already got the invitation for that one. But yeah, we will probably see after the next chapter if you spontaneously feel like joining. Well, you know how to reach the two of us.
If you want me.
I don't know.
Don't worry, don't blame.
No, as I said, I was a little bit scared about might the entire spoiler thingy get too big for me to handle, but no, I still don't feel nicely excited for everything to happen. So, and it was nice to be able to ask questions and get answers, because often enough the questions are just like, did I miss something? Did I forget something? Did I misinterpret something? I mean, you have seen Vector's and mine confusion about the entire peppermint thingy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How long that actually was the corpse? I believe we both totally forgot that we actually saw Twist's corpse in the first third of the entire story, and
yep.
I totally forgot it. For me, in my mind, it was set in stone that Rampage is Twist.
Yeah.
I totally, yeah. And then when the revelation came, I was like, this can't be. He pulling this out of his flank, and then somebody sent me the chapter, and I was like, oh, okay, she was there. She was like nothing to say.
Yeah, I mean, this is why she's so tormented. If she was Twist, she'd certainly be bitter, but she would not be nearly as twisted up as she is. Because the fact is, she's really a 6-year-old in an incredibly powerful, dangerous body. And she wants it to stop. She can't think of any way to make it stop. And, you know, she's intellectually matured. She is not emotionally mature. She just wants things, and this is why she was able to fall prey to Cognito. It's like, look, I'll give you what you want. Blackjack's being a jerk. You know, she keeps trying to save you. Well, I know how much you hate yourself, so help me out, and I'll turn that talisman off and end this rut for you. So.
Well, we'll see if Blackjack gets this. Will Blackjack get through to Peppermint? Will Blackjack? This is something you totally have to written down because otherwise you screwed up. I tried anyways. Will Blackjack get through to Peppermint? Will they together be able to beat Cognitum? What is the legate's plan? The answer to this question and more next time in Fallout Equestria Project Horizon Chapter 73. And in this sense, Somber, Vector, thank you both for being here. This was a very long but very interesting talk. And yeah, if you feel like it, you are welcome to join us in future sessions, Somber. And I will come back to you for the final big one after the entire thing is done. Yeah, that's on my side.
Okay.
You guys?
So from me and the crew.
Awesome.
Wow.
Hey, for me and the crew, I'm just really glad you guys had me. I hope that the story continues to be good, and I hope that it has an ending where when it's all done, people will say, I'm really glad I read that.
I'm still looking forward to seeing to the end. I've enjoyed it so far.
3 years, 3.5 years. Ah!
Okay, everybody. This is ANY saying see you soon.
Yep. See ya.
Take care.